What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the BaseLINE podcast. I am your host, BenLine Newman, and boy, do we have another good one for you today. Now, a few weeks back, we covered Laisha Petrie, who is a basketball player for the Rutgers University women's basketball team. And this week, we bring you another special guest. Now, this woman was the head coach of Laisha when she was playing at Bradley University. And with that being said, please welcome our special guest, Coach Andrea Gorski. Coach, how are we doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. You just wrapped up a 25-year career. How has retirement been treating you so far?
Well, today's the first official day of retirement. So just been busy, heading down to Florida to watch a grandbaby for a week tomorrow. So just trying to get organized. And so they haven't really settled in yet or anything like that. But it's definitely going to be strange.
Sure. Now, what do you think led you to make this decision to call it a career?
Everyone kind of knows when, everyone says you kind of know when it's time. And, I really believe that for as much as we think we can control our next steps or we can control our path, I think, I have a lot of faith and I just feel like you're guided into that next direction of your life. And I think that's how I got to Bradley. I certainly didn't leave Bradley as a student athlete and think, oh, I'm going to be the head coach there one day. I just take it day by day. And I think, I have a granddaughter now who's, let's see, she's 20 months old. And, you have a granddaughter during COVID and you hardly get to see her. They live in Jacksonville, Florida. And so there's a lot of problems getting that far to see family and felt that I was just being pulled in a different direction. And when we coach basketball, I don't care if it's high school, AU, whatever it is, small college, Division One. To me, it was a 24/7 responsibility. I really can't even call it a job because I never really looked at coaching as a job. So it's 24/7. Your phone is on all the time. You can't get far from your phone. Trying to get away is hard because your student athletes are on campus all but pretty much 3 or 4 weeks the whole year. So it's really hard to get away. And I just feel like if you're going to do it the right way, you've got to be all in. And I think I started regretting the things I was missing. I've missed a lot in 25 years. My family's made a lot of sacrifices. And I just, you never want to have regrets. And those regrets started weighing heavily on me. So tough to leave Bradley. I love the place. I love the people, the team, my staff, but I think it's the right decision for me at this time.
Definitely. And going back to your college days, I mean, you actually played your collegiate basketball career at Bradley. What made you pick Bradley over other potential schools?
Well, I grew up in the Detroit area. I went to Dearborn Divine Child for 12 years. It was a very good academic school. And I know when my mom and I started visiting colleges, the one thing was, I didn't send and sacrifice for you to go to a good academic school for 12 years to not find a top academic university. So that was first and foremost. And when we got to Bradley, we knew the academic piece was there. And then just getting the opportunity to play for Coach Boyer. She was a great coach, still one of my best friends, and always been a great mentor to me. And just her personality and her style of play. But probably number one was the academic side of things. And it just felt like immediately like the place I wanted to be at. So best decision I ever made.
I definitely love Bradley as well. Watching you as a coach was obviously really fun in my 4 years there. But you were actually able to go watch Coach Boyle coach in the Women's March Madness Championship game this past weekend. Tell me about that experience and what it was like to really be able to witness that.
Yeah, like I said, we're very close, and I was fortunate enough to be there when they won their first one in 2017, and celebrate on the court with them. And she's the hardest working coach I've ever seen, I've ever been around. She deserves that no doubt she deserves all the success she gets. And I'm in the middle of retiring, packing up my house, trying to find a new house. And she called, says, "Come on, you got to come." I'm like, all right. So I got on the plane for Saturday night, and I was able to be there Sunday for the game, and just so proud. But again, I don't think there's anyone more deserving, because she works hard. She loves her team, and she gives her all, and her passion is second to none. So just really happy. I'm a huge Gamecocks fan. I'm glad I can wear their gear now, because I always felt weird wearing other schools' gear. But you'll see me in some Gamecock gear heading forward.
Awesome. Now, you just mentioned this earlier, but you grew up in the state of Michigan, over on the east side of the state. Talk about your inspirations towards your love of basketball growing up, and how do you think that shaped you into being such a successful coach in your career?
Well, I was so lucky to play for great coaches. From the time I started playing basketball in fourth grade, and I think, in my time at Divine Child, whether it was grade school or high school, just really had great coaches. And high school coach Nancy Sullivan, we won a state championship my junior year, and just been blessed, especially some great female coaches in my life. And but what really got me into basketball was the Detroit Pistons and Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer. And I know everyone in Illinois hates all of them, but I'm a huge fan. I'm probably the only person that in basketball that hasn't watched The Last Dance, and I won't. So, nor have I ever wore a piece of Jordan gear. So I'm proud of that. But I'm a diehard Piston fan, and Isaiah, I'd watch him when I was little, and then I'd go out and practice his moves in the driveway. And that's when we didn't have, we had to use a VHS to record things. So no one even knows what that is on this podcast, I'm sure. But yeah, so that's why I always wore number 11. And Detroit Pistons, and that's kind of what spurred my interest and passion for basketball.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what a fun time to be able to grow up, being able to grow up in really the prime moments of Pistons history.
Yeah, the bad boys. And geez, I was cleaning out my office the other day. I threw on Malice in the Palace. I'm like, that's crazy documentary if you haven't watched that. So yeah, it's just a lot of good history there. And I love the people in Detroit and Michigan. A lot of my family's still there, and but just great people there, and then just very passionate with whatever they do, blue collar. And I think that's just kind of stuck with me my whole career.
After leaving college, you began your coaching career very shortly going out of college. I mean, within only 3 years after graduating, you became the head coach of Ladywood High School in Michigan. Was coaching something that you always saw yourself doing after college?
Coach Boyer had a lot to do with that. When I played, I was a point guard, and she always told me I had a great basketball mind and really good with the X's and O's. And I was a captain my junior and senior year, and she just really kind of pushed me, like, you should look at coaching. So I actually got into AU right when I left Bradley. I was left Bradley, and I was about 6 months without basketball. And I thought, well, gosh, something's missing. I didn't know what it was. And so I started running marathons, thinking I just need to compete in something, triathlons. I'm like, no, that's not it. And then I started coaching AU for a little bit. And then the Ladywood job came over and open, which was the rival of my high school that I went to. So in the Detroit Catholic League. So that was weird. But I loved it there. I was there 12 years. And we made a pretty good run. And really, I think cutting my teeth going against the coaches in the Detroit Catholic League, 2 of which are still there from when I played in the Catholic League. So that tells you the great history. So, that was a long time, Ben. That was a long time ago. So, yeah, you could have said, "Oh, coach, wasn't that long," but that's all right. But, as a young 23-year-old, 24-year-old, cutting my teeth against these legendary coaches, you had to be really good. And they taught me a lot. And so I always felt really prepared coming out of the high school ranks as a coach, just because of the competition I had to go in against night in and night out.
Right. Now, like you said, you spent 12 years at Ladywood High School, but after those 12 years, you really got your first big collegiate shot becoming the head coach for Concordia University, where, I mean, You did a lot for that school, many conference titles, a few NAIA tournaments, and in only 5 seasons, you're the winningest coach in program history. Walk me through what that experience was like, and how your time at Concordia really helped you grow into the coach you became later in your career.
When I was at Ladywood, you're coaching high school, so it's a part-time gig, and I thought, I really want to do this full time. So if an opportunity came up that I didn't have to move my family, I would take it. So a former player from Ladywood just finished at Concordia and called me and said, "Hey, coach, I think our coach is leaving. You should apply for this." I'm like, "All right." So I did, and was fortunate enough to get that job. And I tell you what, and this is for all the young coaches out there, and I told you 9 out of 10 people said, "Don't go, do not take that job." They haven't won. The tuition's very high. The scholarships are bad. The facilities are whatever. But I know when I went and interviewed, and I just again felt like I felt at home there. And it's about the people. It's not necessarily about the facilities and all that. And I said, "Oh, I love a good challenge." So but we're very fortunate. Just coming out of the high school ranks, just recruited several of the Detroit Catholic League players that I had to coach against. And we were able to get the program going. And I think once you prove you can win, people want to be part of that. And those 5 years were some of my most favorite coaching years of my career, and definitely wouldn't be where I ended up without Concordia. And it's definitely school has a special place in my heart.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I mentioned this earlier, Coach, but a few weeks ago we had Laisha Petrie on the podcast. Obviously, you were able to coach Laisha for 3 years of her college career. But before that, you actually met the Petrie family through their father being on your coaching staff. Talk about what that relationship was like. First being able to work with their father, and then finally being able to coach the Petrie sisters themselves.
Yeah, as soon as I got the Concordia job, their dad, Jamie Petrie, was training some of my players at Ladywood, and he had called me that day, the day I decided that I was going to leave Ladywood and take the Concordia job. And he happened to call and say, "Hey, I'm training Mary." She was our point guard at the time at Ladywood. "I'm training Mary today. What do you want me to focus on?" And I always admired him for that, because some trainers they get really territorial, and they don't even contact the high school coach, and it's their way or no way. And Jamie was always great about working with the high school coaches. And so actually, Jamie, Mary, Ladywood doesn't know yet, but I'm going to head over to Concordia. And I said, "I need an assistant coach. Doesn't pay well. Actually, it pays terrible. But if you know anyone, maybe someone used to train or that helps you train that wants a little part-time gig, let me know." And he goes, "Yeah, me." And I said, "Seriously?" I said, "Listen, I can't pay you. You're going to be driving 40 minutes, and you're probably going to, pay more for your gas than your paycheck." And he said, "I don't care." And so yeah, he came over, and I think we're a really good pair. And another one of those hard workers, and just very passionate about the game. And so Leisha and Mari and Jayla, their other sister, always be at our camps, and they were like first, second, third grade, and just watching them grow into the basketball players, and then have a chance to coach them at Bradley was very special.
Following your time at Concordia, you were able to become the associate head coach at Southern Illinois, and then obviously briefly following that, you became the head coach at Bradley. First, what was it initially like to be able to return to Missouri Valley, and secondly, be able to return to your alma mater, this time as a head coach?
Yeah, it was actually, we were heading home from our national tournament at my 5th year at Concordia, and Cindy Stein called me and said, "Hey, I'm getting an SIU job. You want to come be my associate head coach?" I don't know. I'm not going to move my family to Carbondale. I'm trying to remember where Carbondale is at that point. I do remember it was one of the warmer places when I played at Bradley that we went to, but I said, "I don't know about it." And she just kind of called a few more times, and went down there and worked it out. And so she's always been a great mentor to me, and I've always respected her. So was very fortunate to go down there and help her turn that program around for 3 years. And then, yeah, it just happened that Bradley called after then in my 3rd year and said, "Hey, the job's open. We'd like to talk to you about it." And, probably one of the happiest days of my life when I was offered the job at Bradley. And I just got goosebumps just saying it actually again. And It just really, for 6 years, I mean, there wasn't very few days where I drove to work and be like, I can't believe I get to coach at this wonderful place. And it's a place that shaped me. And, yesterday I was turning my keys in and walking over to McMillan Hall across campus there. And I'm like, man, I spent, 11 years of my life here, and just, I love the place. And now I can't wait to root for them as a crazy alumni. And, yeah, just, one of the best days of my life when I was given the opportunity to come back and lead the women's basketball program.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I believe it was your second year at Bradley, was my freshman year of college, and it was honestly really amazing just being able to see the growth that team really made in just 4 small years, for my time at least. I feel like this is really a common theme with your coaching style. I mean, you've taken up many different teams and just built them from the ground up. How would you describe your coaching style, and what do you think made your coaching style so successful with every single school you really stepped foot on?
Well, you have to surround yourself with the right people. And that there's no magic sauce to that. It's finding the right staff first and foremost that want to coach for the right reasons, and it's people that are passionate about basketball, but they're passionate about developing young women, and so they're not in there for a paycheck, they're not in there for ego. And I think that when you put good coaches around you, then now you're able to recruit the great type, the student athletes. But there's no shortcuts, and it's relationship. It's all about relationships. I would say. So for me, I always wanted to be more of a transformational coach, someone that, even if it's recruiting, you recruit them in high school, and by the time they leave Bradley, you've already been in their lives for 6 years. Um, just like even the Concordia kids, recruiting them there. And so many of those kids are still in my life. They're getting married and having babies now. And, to me, trying to be a transformational coach was always first and foremost, and caring about your student athletes. Yes, basketball is super important. You have to be competitive. You're not going to last long in this business. But just seeing them come in as unsure freshmen, maybe a little quiet or timid, and then leave as very confident. Like Gabby Hawk, I remember how quiet she was when she came in here, and I was just had a FaceTime with her yesterday, and she's so confident now. She could do anything she wants. But I've known her for 6 years now, 2 years of recruiting in high school, and actually 7 years, because this was her 5th year. So to me, that's what it's about. And as long as the coaches keep that first and foremost, never coach for a paycheck, coach for those young women that are out on the floor giving their all for you, and that's never changed.
Yeah, like you said, Coach, there's really no easy way to be successful in this game. There's no shortcuts you can take, and you found this firsthand. I mean, you've made a lot of history at Bradley, including in 2021, leading Bradley to their first ever Missouri Valley title in program history, as well as going to March Madness for the very first time again in program history. Talk about these two moments and how it felt to be able to accomplish both achievements.
To celebrate on the floor in those final seconds we're winning. I mean, 46 years of not having a championship for women's basketball program. It just felt like everything was right. And but a lot of that too was for that 1920 team, because it was heartbreaking that they didn't have that opportunity. And yeah, a really good couple of years stretch there. And it's I don't know, as an alumni, it's really nice to see those bangers hanging in the Coliseum, and it's really nice to see that we have a championship trophy. And I cannot wait to start rooting for the next coach of the Bradley program to accomplish it again.
Obviously, like we mentioned earlier, you were able to lead the team to March Madness. How different is it playing in the regular season compared to March Madness? Do you have a different prep? Did you prepare your team in a different way, preparing for a game like in March Madness, or was it something just kind of similar with your preparation style?
I wouldn't say too much difference. I think it was such a strange environment, because when we got to San Antonio, we had to quarantine for 48 hours. We were basically in a bubble, and we just kind of had to get focused. I think we were really intense those first few practices, and but it was different because again, we're in a bubble, so, and we're going to the hotel, walking the convention center, back to the, so it was just trying to get kids focused, because other than that, they're just sitting in their hotel room the entire day. And, other than practice, so it was, we were pretty intense, because we didn't really have a lot of outside time to do anything else. And, but, it's a different level of, I think our team was ready to go. I think we had 4 bad minutes of that game. I wish we could have got back against Texas, but, it was a very cool atmosphere. We could only have like 500 fans, I think they allow, but something I'll never forget. And it's something I know that the players will never forget.
Oh, definitely. I mean, especially for a school like Bradley in such a small conference, not many players get to say that they played against the number 1 WNBA draft pick.
Well, shoot, I know Emily Marsh, she's one of the best defenders we've ever had at Bradley. We certainly missed her this year. And no one would, she did all the little things right that no one even knows, that don't show up in the stat sheet. And so we tasked her, to guard her. And we had 1.5 people on her the whole time, though, and I'm like, gosh, we're doing a pretty good job on her. And then you look, and at the end of the game, she still got 20 points and 8 rebounds. Yeah, she was a very good player. But what helped them the most that game wasn't necessarily their inside game. It was they were able to knock down outside shots. And you got to give up something. We're going to really try to take away the inside game. And they shot the ball really well, unfortunately. And that's where it became hard, because now you're trying to stop their inside game, their outside game, and their dribble penetration, which that was hard to stop all 3. So, but they're a good team and made it to the Elite 8 last year. And I think we held them maybe to their lowest point total, though. I have to look back at that of their tournament. So, yeah, proud of the team, proud of that effort. And, you want to leave that game feeling like you gave it your all, and our kids were exhausted after that game.
I'm sure. With your time at Bradley, you've coached some amazing players. I mean, Chelsea Brackman, Gabby Hawk, Laisha Peachtree, just to name a few. As much as I'm sure they have learned from you, what have you really learned from your players during your time at Bradley?
Well, like you just mentioned Chelsea Brackman, and I was just talking with her yesterday, talking about her to someone yesterday, and she was a kid that went through, she had some serious health issues her senior year, towards the end of her junior year and her senior year. And, we didn't really talk about it much, but for her just to get out on the floor game in and game out and give us what she had and want to play and continue to play through some of the struggles she had. It's just so admirable. And these kids, people have no idea how tough they are and what the sacrifices they make. And I know people say, oh, Division I athletes are spoiled and they don't have to pay for school and they get all these perks and yeah, they do, but it's a pretty big job. And there is a lot of pressure on them. And, I just love that, like you talked about, Chelsea was a freshman when I came in, and we were recruiting someone like Gabby, and then recruiting Laisha and Tatum Koenig and Emily Marsh. And we were not very good when I was recruiting those kids. It was, Bradley had struggled and they just believed in a vision. And, so many kids like, oh, I'm going to go to a proven winner. And there's so few, it's rare to find players and young high school players that want to be like, you know what, I want to go do something for the first time. And they believed in the vision. They believed in the coaching staff, but more importantly, they believed in themselves. And I love that they had that, you know what, no, we're going to go win the first championship at Bradley. They really did. So it's, they taught me a lot that I love that. I wish there was more, high school kids that want to kind of put a program on their back and collectively do something for the first time. And just very special that they believed in that vision and they put all the hard work and just fun coaching. I can't tell you, and even this group last year, I know we didn't have a lot of success on the floor, but I could not wait to get to practice every day. And they were so coachable and resilient. And man, we had some, we took a lot of knocks this year. Nothing was ever good news. We just didn't have a lot of good news this year. And it was like, okay, it's next man up. Let's just keep practicing hard. And they got after it. And So you don't want to overshadow that by the championships or the 20-win teams too, because that group was just as special as, our first year. I think it was my third year. We won 20 some games or whatever. And then the next year, most wins in program history. Yeah, we didn't win a lot of games this past season, but those kids are just as special. They worked just as hard, and they gave me just as much as the previous years. So it's just, again, if it's about, you want it, you're competitive, but if that's why you're doing it, it's you're in it for the wrong reasons, and you do it because again, you want to be a transformational coach. You want to have relationships that mean something, and I just so fortunate to be able to coach the great character kids that have come across at Bradley, Ladywood, Concordia, Southern Illinois. I just can't say enough about that, and that's really what I'll take away.
You've mentioned all those schools. You, in my opinion at least, you've really become a coaching legend in the state of Michigan and Illinois. Maybe not Illinois now that you just mentioned being a Bad Boys Pistons fan, but in your opinion, Coach, what does it mean to be able to represent both of these states?
Oh yeah, I mean, great basketball, and if you look at, we've had some great players from Michigan and Illinois, and the two basketball crazed states. They love basketball, they love their sports. Two states that are blue collar, hardworking people, very similar. So yeah, I'm proud of just contributing what I've been able to do, but I also feel very lucky that I was given the opportunity, and Dr. Reynolds, he gave me an opportunity. I didn't know Dr. Reynolds before I met him over Zoom for my first interview. I've never met him before, and so many times leadership will just hire people they know, or people they're comfortable with, or someone that knows someone. And I just really appreciate that Dr. Reynolds gave me a shot, and I appreciate Concordia AD and the Ladywood AD. They just gave me an opportunity, and I think there's so many coaches out there that maybe they don't have the big names, maybe they weren't didn't graduate from a Power 5 school or something, that deserve opportunities. And so I just can't say enough about Dr. Reynolds giving me that opportunity, because if someone's not there in your corner to give you that opportunity, I'm not sitting here. So to all the ADs out there, to all the business leaders, it's okay to branch out and hire people that maybe don't look like you, maybe that you don't come from the same background. And we need more of that, because I know there's a lot of great coaches out there that deserve the same opportunities that I've had.
Coach, what do you think you're gonna miss the most about coaching?
Oh, the student athletes. Yeah, I mean, just just the relationships. My staff, just chilling in the office, celebrating a win in the office, sitting at the conference table, game planning. Those are the things I'm going to miss the most, is the relationships. And I don't know how I'm going to replicate that. And I know in November, when the ball's getting tipped up and basketball's starting again, there's going to be a little ache in my heart, not being able to be out there competing and leading a team. But it's the relationships. But the good thing about it is you still have all those relationships that you've built that are going to carry into coaching retirement. And but yeah, just the people. I mean, and that's what it's always about. It's and special relationships. So but I'm really fortunate to have so many good memories.
What is next for Andrea Gorski?
Retiring from coaching, I'll probably find something, part-time, or just maybe a little less, time demanding. But yeah, I'm moving down to Florida, and Jacksonville, Florida, to be near my daughter and son-in-law and my granddaughter, and going to help them out a lot. And I just want to be available. I just want to be able to go to birthday parties, go to weddings. I've missed so much in 25 years. Have a Thanksgiving where, my whole family could be around me, and I can not be stressed out and watching film because we were in a tournament that weekend. And, just give more 100% of myself to my family, and support them as much as I can. And, I'll probably race my bike a lot and try to stay fit and take my aggression and competitiveness out that way. And Florida is not a bad place to do that. So, I'll stay busy, but again, I just really look forward to being available and giving back to my kids. I mean, they don't know me without coaching because my daughter's 25 years old and I've been coaching for 25 years. My son's 23 and they've never had a year without mom not around. So yeah, just excited for that next chapter.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on here. I really appreciate it, and have a happy retirement.
Hey, thanks. And thanks for all the great work you've done for Bradley, and excited to see where your career is going to land.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care, Ben.
Yeah, you too. And that'll do it for us today, guys. Thank you so much to Coach Gorski for coming on and talking about her career overall. Thank you guys again for all of your support. And with that being said, guys, thank you again so much for watching. My name is BaseLINE Newman. You have been watching the BaseLINE podcast, and I'll catch you guys next time.